focused on what's happening between the lines in that courtroom. I think that both sides were very meticulous about picking jurors who demonstrated an ability to be fair and impartial, and it's certainly my hope and I believe, and it may be aspirational thinking that these jurors who have had the opportunity to listen to all of the facts and evidence will pay attention to that, just that, and will come back with a conviction against Derek Chauvin.
And Bremner, the defense was concerned about this, brought it up inside the courtroom. And the judge pointed out, these are different stories, and one thing doesn't affect the other. But today it seems like there was a merging of it all between. It seems like the Attorney General is going to be called upon to take over the Dante Wright case. He was out in the streets last night. You've got the family of George Floyd. You've got someone who testified in court yesterday, was on our show last night, was speaking out today in front of the courthouse. So how do you see all of this, and what does it mean? And what does it mean?
Well, you took the word out of my mouth, but it's surreal. I mean, what does it mean? It means everything. I mean, it's all come together in a way the jury can't avoid, starting with basically the curfew, the fact that this is all happening around that, and that their verdict isn't just a criminal case verdict. Their verdict is a worldwide verdict of importance, and the pressure I think put on a jury when there's even more publicity and the AG is out there talking to the family and the families are coming together. I watched the whole press conference today. It's very, very powerful. I know that you did as well, and everyone here did as well. But we're all human. These jurors are under so much pressure. They should have been sequestered. They should have been sequestered yesterday when it was asked again. And even now, because they're going to be sequestered on Monday, or Tuesday after the closing arguments are done, or at least during the closing arguments for their deliberations. So why not do it? Why not do it now? This is a huge case with huge ramifications.
Yeah, I want to throw this out to. Yeah, I want to throw this out to everyone. And here, I mean, if you're a juror in this case, right, and don't you already know that what your decision is going to have an impact? I mean, don't you know that going in? Doesn't everybody know that? And the thought that if this jury came back and said not guilty across the board, there's going to be a reaction. Based upon what's happening right now, it just seems the temperature is even higher than it was before this trial started, Michael. So I don't know if there's anything you could do to have this jury shielded from the realities that are so obvious.
I mean, and Billy, with that, I mean, if we're being candid, that's the reality in many high-profile cases, whether it's murder cases involving civilians, anything that receives national coverage. There's always this sort of expectation that the person is going to be convicted because of this brutal crime against a child or this brutal crime against someone else. So there's always sort of this expectation of a guilty verdict or some sort of justice for the victim in a high-profile case. So jurors who are involved in any high-profile case.
What is this different, Michael? No, this is. I mean, the expected reaction of the level of outrage if Derek Chauvin walks out of that courtroom with 3 not guilty verdicts. Am I overstating what could potentially happen here? Because it happened after George Floyd died.
Riots everywhere.
I don't think you're overstating it, Danny. I make no mistake about it. This juror is well aware of I'm sure they're well aware of the impact of their verdict. But that does not mean that they're not paying attention to the evidence, listening to the facts, and listening to all of the witnesses and paying attention to all of the exhibits. I think they still have a job to do.
We have a job to do here as well. This is what we're going to do. Go ahead, Rick, I'll give you the last word on this.
I'm really sorry. The fundamental difference between what Michael and I say up here is I have an expectation for fundamental justice. Not just, we're going to give him a fair trial and then we're going to convict him. My expectation from my position sitting here on this dais with you is that it's fundamental justice. And that is, he gets a fair trial. And so, and the problem is that it's not a nationwide high-profile case. It's a worldwide high-profile case where the jury is watching and has now, actually they're watching this, having already seen the effects of just the incident. And now they have the weight of that on their shoulders. And as they're watching this trial play out, now they have a different incident where they're seeing how that reaction is taking place in their, some of them right in their own neighborhood. And so to say that it's everything should work out the way it is, or it'll be fair, it's not. It's not fair. And whether and I say this every time I come here, and I'm sorry, I know I'm going long, but every time I come here, I tell you, like, I'm not a Derek Chauvin apologist. Like, I think what he did was improper. However, at the end of the day, as a criminal defense lawyer, as a black man, I will, and if this is happening to him, and he's not able to get a fair trial as a result of everything that happens, imagine what happens to everybody that looks like me that's standing that's sitting in that chair.
And he's a
So
black
for
guy.
me, it's about fundamental fairness, not just him. Honestly, he's not my cousin. I'm not that invested. However, I wanted to get a fair trial because that's what's supposed to happen, and that's the expectation of our system.
All right. Well stated, everyone. When we come back, we're gonna take a look at some of the other big moments from inside the courtroom today.
Yeah, but he wasn't talking about George Floyd though getting a fair trial. He was talking about that Derek Chauvin getting a fair trial, wasn't he? Though? You can say that both sides should, regardless.
Sure.
Aging every state for tenderness, carefully hand carving, and obsessing over every last detail, so you never second guess a single bite. Today, get 12 Omaha Steak Burgers with your order free. Claim your free burger at omahasteaks.com/TV.
No, but
Right now, I think it's gonna be hungry. Is what's gonna happen.
Well, remember, Frank,
I don't know about that. He might, I might not. You don't know though. Who knows though?
Or traveling around the country, men ask him the secret to staying in shape after 40, and his answer is always the same.
Nugenix Total T. We got Nugenix Total T. Nugenix Total T. When I hit 40, I started feeling sluggish. I had less drive. It was harder to stay in shape. I learned I wasn't alone. It happens to every man. I found Nugenix. It works wonders for me.
To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text BOARD to 42424. This unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help increase testosterone levels, to help you feel stronger, leaner, with more energy and drive. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle.